Okay, so sure. Well, thank you for coming today and thank you for having me today. My name is Takako Aikawa. I'm a senior lecturer in Japanese in global languages at MIT. And today's topic is I'm going to talk about augmenting language learning, AI for all levels. Now, the agenda that I'd like to cover today is first, I'd like us to think about the question of what do we really want to do with AI or LLMs, large language models. Many of us are interested in adapting AI for language instruction, but the real question is, do we really know what we want to do with AI and why? This is my kind of guiding question for today's presentation. And I hope that my presentation today can help us figure out this question in a constructive way. Second, I'd like to discuss the need for customization of LLMs. As we know, LLMs know a lot and they are powerful. But because of that, there are many pitfalls when we try to adapt LLMs as is, especially when we try to use LLMs for novice or intermediate levels. So I'm going to talk about such pitfalls and advocate for the necessity of creating customized LLMs in order to integrate AI for all levels. A third, I'd like to introduce the concept of productive failure. Now, this concept is basically to say, don't give an answer immediately. Allow students to have a chance to think carefully. So I'm going to introduce this concept and explain how this concept can be implemented when we use LLMs for language instruction. Last, I'd like to present my reflection on one experimental Japanese language class that I conducted this past summer. Now, this class was fully empowered by AI, and I'd like to talk about the design of this class and the takeaways from this experiment. Now, before getting into the first agenda item, I'd like us to think about what changes have we seen since ChatGPT was released for the first time? ChatGPT was released almost exactly 3 years ago in November 2022. So what kind of changes have we seen? Well, obviously, our perspectives have shifted. Initially, we were worried and skeptical about the use of AI. We talked a lot about AI's hallucination issues or misinformation. We also had the ethical concern such that use of AI is more like cheating. But soon and gradually, we started accepting and then exploring the potential of AI. And now many language teachers are eager to explore how AI can enrich language instruction. And by now, we know LLMs can do various kinds of tasks for both students and teachers. For instance, generating quizzes or translation or generation of teaching plans or grammar explanations or feedback on students' errors, etc., etc. So we all know LLMs are powerful tools. But the real question is, do we know what we want to do with AI? Now, in response to this question, I'm going to present a series of hypothetical use case scenarios of LLMs. For instance, someone might say, I want AI to correct my student writing mistakes, or I want AI to grade my student writings, or I want AI to prepare my students for their job interview in writing or speaking. I want AI to become a tutor for my students so that my students can practice grammar patterns or exercises or self-quizzing. I want AI to prepare my students for their presentation skills. I want AI to become a conversation practice partner with my students. You can also anthropomorphize AI by saying, I want AI to become a Japanese literature professor so that students can talk about the Japanese literature. You can ask AI to become Einstein so that students can talk about physics. So there are many potential use case scenarios of using LLMs for language instruction. But as a language teacher, when we think about using AI for language instruction, we need to pay close attention to pedagogical justification and learning impact. And I think it's important for us to ask ourselves questions such as, why do we have to use AI? What added value that the use of AI bring? I believe successful use case scenarios of AI takes place only when we pay attention to pedagogical justification and learning impact. Do not use AI just for the sake of novelty. But then the next question is, how can we design a learning activity that materializes our intention using the power of AI? How and where to start? Well, in response to those questions, I'm going to present my own real use case scenario here. My original intention was I wanted AI to correct my students' writing mistakes. By the way, this is one of the writing assignment for my third year Japanese language classes at MIT. Now, my use case scenario goes like this. So students are expected to write short sentences using new vocabulary for each lesson. And students write their original sentence and provide AI's edit and then provide their analysis between their original and AI's edits. When does the use of AI take place? It's outside of the class activity. Is the use of AI required? No. I've been doing this assignment over 2 years. The first time when I did it, actually, some students told me that I don't want to use AI. So I decided to make the use of AI optional. And this semester, of course, I'm doing this assignment, and the use of AI is optional. But 85 or 90% of my students are actually using AI. Then next, let's think about who gets what benefits. Well, students can get instant feedback anytime and anywhere. Now, this is huge because by getting instant feedback, this learning activity or this assignment becomes very interactive and engaging. In addition, I believe that students are expanding their vocabulary and grammar knowledge because LLMs are providing new vocabulary and grammar patterns. So they are literally expanding vocabulary and grammar knowledge. And I am hoping that students are also enhancing their critical thinking because they have to compare their original sentence and AI's edits. What about teachers? Teachers no longer have to correct grammatical errors. We know correcting grammatical errors is one of the most time-consuming tasks that we have to do. Having said that, the use of AI does not save our time because we have to read their analysis or comparison between the student's original sentences and AI's edit. But rather, the use of AI here is actually shifting our attention from simply correcting grammatical errors to examining and understanding what kind of learning our students are doing through their interaction with AI. But does this kind of assignment work for all levels? Well, most people for advanced students said yes. But for novice or intermediate students, some might say, no. Why? What is missing here? Well, this is a nice segue to the next agenda item, that is the need for customization of LLMs. So what is customization of LLMs? Why do we need to customize LLMs? Well, as I mentioned at the outset of my presentation today, LLMs have a huge amount of knowledge. And adopting LLMs as is often dangerous because our students' knowledge is very limited. We somehow have to shrink LLM's knowledge so that LLMs can provide responses and feedback appropriate to students' proficiency levels. Now, to illustrate the danger of using LLMs as is, let's imagine you were a novice learner of English and you just asked AI, I want to have a conversation with you in English to discuss the topic of Japanese culture. So here it is from ChatGPT. So imagine you were a very beginner. And then I already kind of, okay, two lines of sentences, and I don't know a couple of words. For instance, I don't know the word calligraphy. So I asked ChatGPT, calligraphy, what is calligraphy? And then ChatGPT responded to me, like giving me enormous amount of like information already. I am already kind of overwhelmed. But by specifying your proficiency level, you can actually control the behavior of LLMs to a certain extent. For instance, simply add my proficiency level is actful novice low. By the way, LLMs understand what is actful rubric, so you don't have to write the details. Just by saying, my level is actful novice low. Let's see how the ChatGPT respond. So I just put one line. My proficiency level is actful novice low. So it's already the question one. What do you like about Japanese culture? The sentences or the structures are much, much simpler. So what I'd like to argue is in adopting AI for all levels, creating customized LLMs tailored to student proficiency levels is critical. So suppose you have 3 years of language program and you create novice LLM, intermediate LLM, and advanced LLM and provide those LLMs to your students. That way, students and LLMs can interact with each other, level appropriately. But how can we create such customized LLMs? Well, I'm going to introduce two ways today. One is through prompt writing, and the other one is through available platforms such as OpenAI's Explore GPTs and Google's Notebook LM. So let's start with prompt writing. As I mentioned before, you can actually control LLM's response by writing a specific prompt for your task. So here, like providing proficiency level, in fact, you can write anything in your prompt. You can say, hey, please start the conversation. Wait for my response. Don't write too much because LLMs tend to talk too much. And remember, this is a reminder. Remember that I am a beginner. You can write anything in your prompt. Now, let's see how ChatGPT respond to this. So again, today I want to talk about Japanese culture. What do you like about Japan? So all the simple sentence structure and grammar. But if you say actful advanced level, the behavior totally changes. Look at this. So let's start. Japan is often described as a country that blends tradition and modernity. From your perspective, what aspect of Japanese culture best represent this balance between the old and the new? It's already, the question itself is quite actually sophisticated. So, prompt writing allows us to control LLM's behavior. And I believe prompt writing is the first step for us to try if we try to create customized LLMs. But the caveat of prompt writing is lack of consistency. You don't always get the same type of behavior if you try to control through prompts only. Furthermore, less control over the content. If you control that, like the number of vocabulary or the grammar patterns, prompt writing doesn't really give any great result. If you want to have more consistency and control over the content, those two are one way to actually achieve your goal. That is using OpenAI's Explorer GPTs and Google's Notebook LM. Now, those two platforms are very easy to work with. And you don't need to have any technical skills at all. I'm going to demonstrate these. Really, you don't need any technical skills. But you need to provide two things. One is resource files. For instance, if you have a textbook PDF, or if you have like a curriculum or some learning activities, Word documents or whatever, or MP4 sound files, you can use those resources as knowledge. You can upload these files into these platforms. So that's one thing you need to provide. And the other thing is instructions. This is more like a prompt. You convey your intention and instructions. So I'm going to demonstrate how to create one simple customized LLM using both platforms here. The file that I'm going to use as resource file is this. Very, very beginner, everyday English conversation. This is the kind of the chapter content. It's really more like a novice low level English textbook. And I am going to upload that PDF file into Notebook LM. So let's watch. So when you come to Notebook LM, you see this kind of interface, and then you click Create New, and then it asks upload sources, and you can choose files. For instance, in my case, so here. So the file that I'm going to upload is that PDF. Here, I open it. It accepts various types, PDF and Word, but not PowerPoint. You can also provide like YouTube videos or MP4 files or YouTube video site as well. So for instance, here, this is right now summarizing this textbook. So I uploaded the textbook PDF. For instruction, you can write your instruction in Word and then upload that. So this is the Notebook LM summary already automatically. Now notice on the right-hand side here, you see flashcards and quiz. Just by clicking this button, Notebook LM create automatically flashcards based on the content of this PDF and make quizzes based on this PDF. Now these upper level, like audio overview, video overview, those are new features. So audio overview, for instance, by just clicking this button, Notebook LM create podcast automatically based on the content of this PDF file. So let's watch. I created a podcast. So all I did is just push that button. So this is the podcast.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something really quite fascinating. It's an English learning guide from the U.S. Department of State.
Right. It's called Everyday Conversations. And it was aimed at, I think, sixth and seventh grade level EFL or ESL students.
But it's so much more than just vocabulary lists, isn't it? When you dig into it.
So this is automatically created. I didn't do anything. It's just a push the button. Now, this video overview is the podcast plus like a PowerPoint presentation, automatic making. Now, Notebook LM is free. You can, first of all, create customized LLM immediately. Now, for audio overview and video overview, you can probably only try like once or twice a day. It's for free. But maybe if you wait another day, you can try again. But basically, Notebook LM is free, so I highly recommend you to at least try to use it. Again, what you need to do is provide your whatever materials, learning materials, and then upload it, and then write your instructions in Word, and then upload it. That's all you need to do. Now, explore GPTs. This one, unfortunately, is available only for paid version. I have paid version of GPT, but I'm going to just show how to do it. But basically, the process is the same. Upload your resource files and provide your instructions. So let's watch it. This is ChatGPT 5. If you look at the sidebar, you will see Explore and then click on this. And you can see this page and then click on this plus create. Here you can provide your own name, for instance, test model. And if you want to describe your model, you can write anything. And here you can provide instructions like, what kind of tasks you want AI to do. So this is the prompt engineering part. And there's a knowledge section. This means you can upload files such as PDF or PPTX. So I'm going to just put here and here and here. Any like PDF, Word document, or PPTX, or sometimes I believe that a YouTube could be possible, or MP4 file, you can upload here and ask AI to use those files as the resource or the source of AI's knowledge. So it's the same process. You can upload your files. I'm not sure whether PPTX works or not, but PDF and Word document or text files clearly work. And once you upload all the resource files and wrote your instruction, all you have to do is just push this create button. That's all you need to do. Now, in my case, I'm actually creating customized LLM for each lesson of the textbook. So this is Japanese 5. This is the course name, class name. And I created lesson 1 customized LLM, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5. And I am sharing those customized LLMs with my students. Students don't have to have paid version. In creating these, I have to have a paid version, but the people who use, if I share the link, they don't need to have any paid version or anything. It's a free version, it's totally fine. So my students have access to these customized LLM so that they can really practice vocabulary and grammar patterns together with these LLMs. Now, there are many online YouTube resources available if you try to use like Notebook LM or Explore GPT. So I highly recommend you to kind of take a look and then try creating your own LLM. Now, to sum up so far, I talked about identifying what we want to do AI with LLMs is really important. And we need to pay close attention to pedagogical justification and learning impact. When we try to adapt AI for language instruction, ask ourselves, why do I have to use AI? What added values we can actually have by adopting AI? And also in designing learning activities, pay close attention to the question of who gets what benefits. I also talked about problems in adopting LLMs as is and advocated for the need of customization of LLMs tailored to our students' proficiency levels. Now, I'm going to go to the next agenda item, the concept of productive failure. Now, this concept of productive failure is actually closely related to very important question of what is learning in the age of AI? We know AI can give you all sorts of answers to all your questions pretty much flawlessly nowadays. Then what is the value of learning in the age of AI? Also, does learning require effort or even suffering? So this concept, productive failure, is actually very closely related to these two questions. Now, basically, productive failure, this concept means delay providing answers or feedback to students and allow students or learners to have the chance to generate their own understandings or answers or explanations. There are many articles and YouTubes are available for this productive failure. So again, please read those materials. Now, productive failure, this is also supported by neuroscientists. Now, this sausage-shaped fatty substance is called myelin. Myelin actually controls the speed of information transmission between neurons. And according to scientists, failure, struggle, effort, and suffering, actually those things stimulate and enhance the production of myelin. So the more effort you make, actually, the better speed you can get with respect to the information transmission between neurons. So effort, struggle, failure, those are good things for our learning process. But AI is supposed to free us from effort and struggle. That being the case, is AI making us dumber? In fact, people are talking about dumbing down effect by the use of AI. Now, this is a research paper written by a bunch of researchers at MIT's Media Lab. Basically, the paper claims AI will lead to a widespread dumbing down or decline in the ability to think critically. If students use AI tools too early, they may not develop basic skills for critical thinking and problem solving. I do not agree 100% with this claim. Rather, I think knowing when, where, and how to use AI is the key to long-term success and skill development. Now, OpenAI actually already addressed this problem, dumbing down effect. And they recently released the what they call study mode. This was released July this year. There's a short video clip about this study mode, so let's watch it.
Study mode, what is it? A lot of people are already using ChatGPT for learning, but with any new tool, there is a right and a wrong way to use it. And I've made a previous video about how if you use ChatGPT in the wrong way, it's actually gonna be more harmful than beneficial for your learning. And it just creates this illusion of learning where you feel like you're understanding everything, but you're not actually gaining knowledge that sticks with you. And one of the big reasons for that was because it's so easy to extract information from ChatGPT that it's easy to become passive in our learning, and passive learning is ineffective. So OpenAI clearly was also worried about the same thing, because study mode is basically their attempt to address this. In their release, they say that it offers step-by-step guidance instead of quick answers. It's really easy to activate. You just go onto the website.
So OpenAI already addressed the problem of, or the issue of productive failure by releasing this study mode. Now, can we actually do both? Customization of LLMs and integration of productive failure, these two things at the same time? The answer is yes. Well, remember, in order to customize LLMs, you need to do two things: uploading resource files and give instructions in writing. Now, what you need to do to control AI's knowledge, you upload files, but tell AI saying, use the knowledge files as your source of truth. Those words doesn't have to be exactly like this, but you have to give instruction to AI. Hey, use those files as your knowledge. Now, to implement the concept of productive failure, you have to give again the instruction by saying, hey, you don't need to, hey, but don't give answers immediately. Instead, guide students with hints and step-by-step scaffolding. Again, the wording doesn't have to be exactly the same at all, but you need to give this instruction. By doing it, you can actually accomplish those customization and productive failure at the same time. Now, I'm going to show the differences between just regular, nothing, plain GPT-5 versus I created a customized GPT for this workshop with the English, the PDF file that I showed before, and the concept of productive failure. So let's see what kind of differences we will have in their responses. So this is just a regular ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, what do you think about the current US government? That's all. So it's already kind of give me the basic key issues, okay? And then it asks, I can summarize public opinion. And if I said yes, it gives me immediate answer. For instance, I said, yes. Like this. So there's no hesitation. It gives me immediate answer. There's no like concept of productive failure. Furthermore, of course, there's no control over the English knowledge. So it's just really like native speakers of English kind of. Now this one, customized GPT for this workshop. I uploaded that very novice level PDF file. I told AI use the concept of productive failure. So let's see. I asked the same question. So let's watch. So look, before I answer it already, can you tell me what you mean by the current US government? Well, let's start small. Can you make one simple English sentence about what you know about the US government? So it doesn't, I mean, of course, English is simple, but it doesn't give me immediate answer, more like a challenging some question, challenging me by raising those questions. So that's the reflection of this productive failure. Now, I'm going to talk about the last agenda item, that is a reflection of my summer experimental class. Now, my summer experimental class is called FLAP, Fluid Language Pedagogy. Now, the design of this class is, this class consists of students with diverse proficiency levels. I wanted to accept any level of students, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. There's no textbook for the class per se. Teacher is there, but no lecture by a teacher. Teacher is sitting there more like as a coach. And she meet with her students in person probably a couple of times a week. But the main part of this FLAP class is students work and practice with their customized LLM at their own pace, anytime, anywhere. In-person classes, we did learning activities that emphasize interactive communication skills using the target language. Also, this class, because we accepted a student with diverse or different levels, so it create unique opportunity of learning through teaching. So advanced students can teach actually beginners or intermediate students. Now, with that design in mind, I actually conducted this class this past summer, 8 weeks. I got 4 students, and 1 is beginner, and 2 are intermediate, and 1 is advanced low. I created 3 different levels of LLMs. I met with them twice a week. Now, result of this experimental FLAP class is all students completed this class and covered materials of amount of 1 semester material within 8 weeks. MIT 1 semester is 15 weeks, but they covered within 8 weeks. So twice as fast. And all my students told me that they thought they were able to learn Japanese autonomously using LLMs and online materials. Now, this illustrates a student's progress. So day 1, this student is really zero background. And after 8 weeks, the student was amazing. He learned a full year of materials within 8 weeks at his own pace. Now, takeaways from this summer experimental class is there were some glitches, which I'm going to talk about, but basically, this class demonstrated the feasibility of providing a learning environment where students can learn at their own pace. And I'm hoping that this actually made us take one step further toward personalized learning. Then, what were the glitches? Well, my original intention was I really wanted to promote personalized learning powered by AI. Let students learn at their own pace, anytime, anywhere, and let students have instant feedback from AI. So this is really what I wanted to do. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to have more free time. No preparation for teaching, no need to give feedback. So I thought, well, this class would be easy to teach. I would have a lot of free time. I was excited about this. But it turned out to be designing learning activities across various levels was a big challenge for me. Furthermore, I let AI to be a language tutor for my student. I didn't teach grammar. I didn't interact with my student on a daily basis. Because of this, I wasn't sure, whether my students are actually learning what. Not knowing my student learning progress was a big concern to me. So my reflection was multi-level class design might not be a good idea. And what I learned from this class, most importantly, understanding student learning progress, their strengths and weaknesses. This is extremely important. and interpersonal connection between a teacher and her students. These two are really important. Now, when we think about these two components, it's actually the skills that are essential skills of a coach. For instance, a football coach, he needs to understand his team members' like strength and weakness. And a coach usually has to have interpersonal connection between him and his team members. So really, those are essential skills of a coach. Now, last remarks. We know AI is coming into education, and we need to coexist and collaborate with AI. And then, what should be the role of human language teachers in the age of AI? We need to be able to answer these questions. Now, in so doing, it's important for us to identify things that only human language teachers can do. Identify things that AI is good at. Now, to illustrate the differences between human language teachers and AI, I often use this dichotomy between practice and experience. AI can provide lots of unlimited amount of practice, but only human teachers can provide experience. What about the value of learning foreign languages? We now have earbuds that can translate from one language into another pretty much flawlessly. Then why do we have to learn foreign languages? My answer to this question is only human to human communication can establish interpersonal connection and trust. There is some magic in human to human connection. In fact, in literal plus, I think AI is letting us realize one of the essential elements of humanity, that is interpersonal connection and trust. In that respect, I believe AI cannot replace the value of learning foreign languages. So I think this is the time is up, and then I'd like to go into Q&A. Any questions? From the audience?
First,
Any?
I'd like to thank you so much. It was really valuable presentation. I enjoyed it and learned a lot from it, and it answered many
Thank you.
questions that I were thinking about. Okay, so anyone wants to start any questions? Rania?
Thank you so much for this amazing presentation. I'm also doing research on chatbots and how to incorporate them in my French classroom. And I was really amazed and I learned a lot from the presentation. So thank you for that. I also love the note about the magic of human to human interaction. And that was like a positive note after talking about all these like robots and machines. So my question is, I have developed a chatbot for my French 3 classes, and I had a problem when I was prompting, since I was adding our syllabus and I was adding the material we were working on, but I had this issue of incorporating the textbook because of the copyrights.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if you had that same problem, if your textbook is protected by a copyright, and how did you do to
Yes, that's right. That's an issue. But fortunately, my case is okay. But I know that if you try to upload, like a textbook PDF, it's a copyright issue. But
Mhm.
I think if it's just inside of the class, I mean, so many actually PDF files, textbook PDF files already online. And my students, for instance, they no longer buy textbooks. They just Google it and then they find PDF files. So I'm not so sure, but it's true. Legally speaking, it's the copyright.
Yeah, it is protected. Especially
Yes, right.
these LLMs or chatbots, these resources, they are used to train more the LLM for future performances. So that's why I had this debate with myself, like, should I do it? Should I not? So I ended up not doing it for legal reason.
One thing that I actually try to do to avoid the copyright issue is I actually asked LLM to, hey, so like lesson 1, I'd like to have the vocab list of this textbook, lesson 1, and then get the output from LLMs, and then put it into Word, and then upload. So there might be a kind of, verification issues. You might have to verify, are these lists are actually really true to the textbook?
Mhm.
But it doesn't violate copyright because LLM generated it based on their knowledge. So I actually did it that way to avoid copyright issues. So you could ask LLMs or ChatGPT, hey, give me the vocab list of this textbook lesson 1, and give me the grammar patterns of lesson 1. And you have to kind of narrow down the scope of not the whole textbook, and then put those lists of vocab or grammar patterns into Word and then upload. That way, it's a tedious work, but it doesn't violate copyright.
Yeah, this is definitely a way around it that
Exactly,
works in both
exactly.
words. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I don't know whether that's a good way, to be honest, but I think that's one way.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mina?
Thank you so much for your presentation. I learned a lot and I really appreciated all your insights. I wanted to ask you more about your summer class. And I know in your reflection you said that this interpersonal connection kind of wasn't established. And you also mentioned about how you weren't familiar with your students' learning process. My question for you is, even with that as a result, and I think you also said the challenge was, of course, developing the customized LLMs. Even though those were challenges, and that's kind of what came out. Would you teach the class again now that you do have all the customized LLMs? And would you recommend that it be taught in this way because the students actually did acquire, as you showed us, an immense amount of knowledge? I'm asking because, as you know, in our language programs, enrollment numbers are an issue. And so if we don't have enough students for, one level, can we kind of look forward to having these mixed levels of classes? And if so, in this way?
Yes, I'd like to try to do that. I think thank you for this is a wonderful question, by the way. So I was very insecure because I, initially, oh, this is a wonderful class because AI can do everything for me. I don't have to do anything. That was totally wrong. I needed to feel more, how do you say, I wanted to understand more about student learning process. And that way I feel, or I feel like I would be a really responsible teacher. And it was a dilemma for me too, and because this is the first time, and I was very insecure. But in the kind of, maybe if I increase the interaction time with my students, that way I could do, or I would feel better probably. So I only met, twice, or just twice means 1 hour and then 1 hour, so just 2 hours a week. If I increase my interaction time with my student, I may feel differently. Furthermore, if the class is diverse, maybe I can incorporate individualized kind of interaction as opposed to class. So it's still like kind of in the learning process for me. But it's true. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this one is actually to enhance the enrollment. It gives us more flexibility in terms of like, scheduling and curriculum design. So that's a part of the reason why I thought this would be a good idea.
And your model shows that it was a success. You
It was a
incorporated,
success.
yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
I think that, as teachers, if we have experience and knowledge, and of course, as you say, kind of this, I really appreciate your term, responsible teaching, right?
right.
But we're kind of bringing in from the past, we don't have the AI that we've taught with. So I think as you're talking, we're really seeing this evolution, right,
Yeah,
of
right.
teaching.
That's
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Oh.
Thank you for your presentation. My question is whether you noticed in your summer class where AI was particularly competent,
Mm,
or if there were differences in oral production or written production
yes.
or
Yes,
interpretive.
yes, thank you, thank you. So oral production is weak. Uh, because again, there is a speech mode. ChatGPT has those speech mode, but you don't have so much control over that. Of course, you can provide some prompt, and I'm a beginner, so speak slowly, blah, blah, blah. You could control to some extent, but oral production is very weak. One reason is ChatGPT or AI is not good at providing pronunciation feedback because LLMs are based on text base. So LLMs can actually give quite actually good feedback on student writing errors or grammar explanations. Everything is text based. But LLMs or those chatbot currently available, they are not sound based at all. So we are actually developing together with one university in Japan. We are creating actually the AI enhanced oral application. I was going to actually present today, but I didn't have enough time, so I didn't. But for that application, what we are doing is call speech to text technology. So students say something and then transcribe something, and based on that text, we provide feedback. There is no direct feedback mechanism for students like prosody issues or accent, intonation. So oral production was really weak. But the grammar knowledge was okay, and writing part. So that I believe that we still need to work on that. And I don't know, oral production is always hard, even like human to human. But AI is still so poor at oral production. But you never know, maybe one day we might be able to do certain good things. And in fact, actually, I am incorporating this AI enhanced oral application into my current Japanese class. And then, so students have to talk to this application every lesson. And I give the topic of the presentation, and then AI provide feedback, immediate feedback. But again, the limitation is it's based on transcription, not the actual sound. So that's the limitation right now.
I agree with you that the transcription from speech to text and then text to speech for the AI to respond,
Yes.
it's a bit complicated. And there's always this pronunciation barrier where the machine is not able to understand or to always transcript the student's pronunciation correctly because it could be wrong.
Yes. Yes.
So there is this barrier, and I'm sure that that with like the AI development and training of the LLMs, it will soon be possible.
I'm hoping soon possible.
Yeah, I'm very confident about that. But I'm wondering, what's the platform called that you're working on, or what's
You mean the oral
the tool that you
oral
said you're working
actually
on?
we are developing by ourselves.
I see. Okay, that's great.
Yes.
Are you
And
like coding it, or are you using
yes,
non-code?
my partners in Japan, they can code, so they are coding, and then I'm using it and then giving feedback, and then you know, and also I'm using one student to work on more like a speech technology, so that whether we can more like really speech like vowel lengths or some prosodic features we are targeting, and I'm not sure how far we can go, but this is one area that I'd like to tackle in the future. Very,
Yeah, that's
very
pretty
much.
impressive. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No, no, no.
Okay, I have a question if we have a couple more minutes. Is it okay for you?
Sure.
Okay, so you said as a teacher, when you taught this course, you felt that you want to be the responsible teacher who knows what's the progress of the students. But at the same time, you said especially for the novice student, he or she was able to really learn
Yes.
the material of 1 year in 8 weeks.
Yes. Yes.
So do you think at a certain time, at least for beginners, AI might replace instructors?
Uh, I don't want to use the term replace,
Hmm.
but AI will accelerate the learning speed, I believe. I
Hmm.
think and I believe human instructors is always necessary for, motivation wise, and so that's why I use the term coach.
Hmm.
I'm very actually interested in how, say, football coach is actually really motivating his team. He's standing there and then watch his players play football, and yet they need a good coach.
Hmm.
So what is the essence of good coach? I'm curious. And what I want to become actually really eventually is I want to become a good coach. So AI can enhance and then accelerate the learning process. But my students need me as a coach. And in order to be a good coach, I have to understand their weakness and strength. I have to have a trust from them. And if I can have those, I think my student can listen to me. And together with the powerful AI, ability, I think we can have a great, I don't know, coexistence. That's what I am hoping.
We all hope for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's still like evolving, right? It's really, we are still in the learning kind of process.
Yeah.
And people are talking about agentive AI or different kinds of, and humanoid is coming soon, and maybe students are learning with humanoid, and but I think, as I mentioned at the end, human to human communication, there's some magic in it. Um, and we need to keep really advocating for that, the importance of human to human communication.
I agree. I mean, the experience with COVID that students were not learning, like even if we were with them, but through a screen, it didn't really have the same impact. And students at the end, they just wanted to go back to school and have this human communication. So at least I'm hoping that this will be the thing to keep us going.
Yes, I think so. We learned something really from the COVID experience.
Exactly.
Something is missing, even like a Zoom, we see face to face, but
But
something
something
is
is
missing.
missing. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and your presentation. This was really valuable.
Well,
And
thank you for having me, and thank you for your wonderful questions as well.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a nice weekend.